Good evening. I'd like to call to order the December 10th, 2018 Old Bridge Township Council meeting. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence and our prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment to remember those who are protecting us both here and abroad, for our first responders, for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and this evening Dr. Greenberg would like to do a special moment of silence.
I'd like a moment of silence, please, for our 41st President, George Herbert Walker Bush. He served our country well. His decency and selflessness will always be remembered and admired. He was loyal to our country and the institutions of our government. God bless him in his memory. Rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen. A moment of silence, please. Our prayer, Mr. Pescitti.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give them quiet minds and hearts that they may hear thy voice. Help them to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give them strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right, and grant that they have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice of the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on Monday, January 7th, 2019 at 7:30 p.m. Mrs. Brown.
Present.
Mr. Cahill.
Here.
And Dr. Greenberg.
Here.
Mr. Merwin.
Present.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Mr. Pescitti.
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
President Sohar.
Here.
9 present.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to begin with presentations. The Old Bridge Housing Authority. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. At your request, I'm here this evening again.
Yeah, and give us your name for the record, please.
My name is Eric Chabanko. I'm Executive Director of the Old Bridge Township Housing Authority. I'm here at your request this evening again to give a brief overview of the Housing Authority and its operations. The Housing Authority still is an agency that operates under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We currently operate a Section 8 only program with 204 Section 8 vouchers that are fully leased up. Our agency answers both the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and New Jersey Department of Community Affairs with our budgets, audits, and our oversight. The agency currently is a high performer, one of the highest performing agencies in the state of New Jersey for a Section 8 program, and in full compliance with audits and budgets for both of those organizations. There's not a whole lot I can add. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Our board members are all in compliance with the required training. There is one newer commissioner that is going through the protocol, but is within the 18-month training period.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for this gentleman, comments? Okay, seeing no hands, then I will thank you very much.
Thank you very
much. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Council President, if I may.
Yes.
I should have introduced this process. One of the requirements under best practice that Township signed off is that all the authority or agency will, do annual presentation to the council. So this is second year that we're doing it. Housing Authority has done presentation. We have a redevelopment agency, and Steve is here. He's going to do the presentation on redevelopment agency. And MUA, we had a communication delayed, and as a result, they're going to do the presentation in second meeting in January. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next will be Thanksgiving Basket Sponsor Program event, Anahita Fillets. Absolutely.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Henry, Mr. Shaw. My name is Anna Feltz. I am the manager of Silver Linings at Old Bridge and the Old Bridge Food Bank. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come before you this evening and to speak to you about our food bank. I wanted to take a moment to speak to you all about our efforts to help our residents in need this holiday season. Unfortunately, it saddens me to report that our client list continues to grow. In order to meet demands, we are always looking for new ways and ideas to fundraise and solicit monetary and food donations. One such idea came to us from Casey Lenning, our facilities maintenance foreman in our Public Works Department. Casey approached us at the end of October with the idea of having Township departments sponsor a Thanksgiving basket by donating at least $50. And so began our Sponsor a Thanksgiving Basket fundraiser. Casey and I distributed flyers to all the departments and all council members, and the response was overwhelming. In a matter of just 2 short weeks, we've raised $1,793 for a total of 35 baskets, with our initial goal of being 30 baskets, so we were excited to exceed that goal. We ended up distributing 142 baskets at our annual Thanksgiving distribution, and we served 1,158 residents throughout the month of November. On behalf of Casey, myself, the Departments of Parks and Recreation and Public Works, we would like to thank all the departments and council members who participated in our fundraiser, with a special thank you to the SOA Lodge 127A, PBA Local 127, Cheesequick Volunteer Fire Company, and the Old Bridge Diner Girls. I would also like to thank Casey for coming up with the idea and helping us make it a success that it was. We hope to expand this fundraiser next year by taking it into the community and our residents. I would also like to publicly thank all the businesses and organizations who have donated to us this holiday season and throughout the year. Reformed Church Home recently donated $3,500 and over 500 pounds of food. Amboy Bank donated a truckload of food as well. We also received donations from Provident Bank, the Max Fitness, Haunted Woods, Apex Physical Therapy, Old Bridge Girls Soccer League, Simpsons United Methodist Church, the YMCA, Curion, Their Learning Experience, Remax Innovations, Troop 129 Boy Scouts, the Old Bridge Township Public Schools, NG Spine and Wellness, and many, many more. Please forgive me if I forgot anyone. A special thank you goes out to all of our residents also who donate to the food bank during the holidays and during the year. We are so grateful to have such a giving community. No one can help everyone, but everyone can help someone. If you are interested in donating, please visit our website at oldbridge.com/foodbank for more information. Finally, I would like to speak about our wonderful volunteers who have worked over 200 hours in the month of November just to get us through the holiday. We received thousands of pounds of food these past 3 months, and our volunteers worked tirelessly to sort and shelve all these donations. Day in and day out, they work hard to keep our food bank in order by making sure it is organized, preparing orders, and helping clients with their pickups. Our food bank would not be able to run without its volunteers, and tonight I would like to take a moment to recognize them. I wish more of them were here. Some of them are traveling, but I will recognize them all. I'd like to ask Mayor Henry and our Director of Parks and Recreation and Social Services, Matt Mercurio, to come up and help me thank our volunteers for their hard work, not just during the holidays, but all year long. Thank you. Whoops. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to read their names. If they're here, they'll come up. If they're not here, I'll make sure to get their certificates to them. Their certificate states, Certificate of Recognition presented to our volunteers in recognition of your community spirit, commitment, time, and talent dedicated to the Old Bridge Food Bank. The heart of a volunteer is not measured in size, but by the depth of the commitment to make a difference in the lives of others. Thank you for helping those less fortunate. So the first volunteer is Ann Chester. She could not be here with us tonight. Our next volunteer is Blanche Duncan, who also had a prior commitment. Our next volunteer is actually a volunteer that ended up leaving us last year because she got a full-time job, but she still comes back during all the holidays. Desiree Dancy, she is also at work right now. I would also like to thank her daughter, Zora Dancy, who always comes out and helps us during the holidays and during the summer when she is off from school. My next volunteer is Margaret Fontaine. Margaret is one of our long-standing volunteers, I would say. She is not here today, but we would like to recognize her. Next volunteer is Thomas Geiger. He actually cannot be here as well, but he does all of our Whole Foods run. Whole Foods is a big donor for us, and he goes and picks up all their donations on Mondays and Wednesdays for us, so he's our driver. Our next volunteer is Jonathan Greenbaum, if you'd like to come up. Our next volunteer is Ruth Greenbaum. Thank you. Our next volunteer I'd like to recognize is Johanna Kurzik. She just had knee surgery about a week and a half ago, so that's why she couldn't be here today. Our next volunteer is Ursula Linke. She could not be here today, but because she also volunteers at the hospital. She is very sad to miss this today, but thank you, Ursula. Our next volunteer is one of our most recent volunteers, Catherine Nigro, and she has been a quick learner, and we're very happy to have her at the food bank, who unfortunately she could not be here. I apologize. It was hard to get everybody here. A lot of people took time off after our Thanksgiving busyness. So our next volunteer, Marcia Ober, is not here as well, but we'd like to thank her. Our next volunteer, who started on our actually Thanksgiving distribution day, her name is Thomasita Penny Pagan. She is here today. We'd like to thank her. Our next volunteer is Dominic Sorrentino, who's currently in Disney World with his grandchildren, so I don't really blame him for not being here today. Next volunteer is Carol Tessier. Carol is, I think, our longest volunteer at the food bank, so thank you, Carol. Thank you. Next volunteer who will come in on any day I ask her is Irene Troland. Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Debbie Weintraub, who's not only a food bank volunteer, she's also a volunteer at Silver Linings at Old Bridge. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you all again for allowing me to come this evening and publicly recognizing our volunteers. They work very hard all year, not just around the holidays. So I thank you all for allowing us to have this opportunity.
Thank you, Anahita. Thank you, Matt. All right. Next will be the presentation of best practices for the Economic Development Corporation.
Council President, Steve is going to also going to cover redevelopment agency, which is another
Yes.
authority.
Okay, I'd just like to kick it off, Council.
Thank
Thank you, Council President. We're here tonight to discuss our redevelopment, economic development here in Old Bridge. We're only going to speak for a few minutes, but I can tell you we can go on for hours of what we've been able to accomplish over the last few years. We're going to focus on the last 2 years since Steve has been brought on board. I have always recognized the importance of economic development and redevelopment and wanted to have an effective plan in place. I felt it necessary to bring someone of Steve's caliber to work with me, and together we have been able to make a real difference in our community. Our efforts have resulted in providing a very stable tax base here in Old Bridge. The municipal budget is $4 million less than it was when I took office 7 years ago, and we're likely going to be there in 2019, and that's because of economic development. With good economic planning comes all the benefits, as I said, stable taxes at the municipal level, improvements in public safety, recognition of our town as one of the safest places to live in New Jersey. Small business attraction has provided opportunities for those businesses to support all our nonprofit organizations, which provide the services that are so important to all our residents. These businesses support our school system. As I mentioned, our marching band is just returning from Pearl Harbor after representing our country at the Pearl Harbor at the recognition at the ceremony, and a large portion of that money came from small businesses. Economic development and redevelopment, I'm going to say, and maybe I'd be considered pompous, but I don't think has ever been better. And Steve and I are committed to keep improving and provide that improve the quality of life for all who live, work, and have chosen Old Bridge to raise their family. So at that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve. He's going to highlight some things that we've worked on, and we're going to continue to work hard for this town. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mayor, Council President. First, as the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Agency, I'd like to give you a quick synopsis. What the Redevelopment Agency does, we're in compliance with the state, and what we do is continuously look for developers to come into our town and develop parcels that we have designated as redevelopment. We vet them out, and basically the redevelopment portion of it is we also look for areas throughout the town that we can designate that fit the criteria of redevelopment. So at this point, there are a couple of projects in the stream. Unfortunately, we had a setback, losing our chair, former Mayor Art Haney, which hurt us. So basically what we have in the bucket now, we brought on a new commissioner. He's been to his second meeting so far, and we're moving along. Currently, a couple of projects in the stream is the Lawrence Harbor Senior Center building. That project is part of the CORE housing, the affordable housing. We are vetting a new, we're working with a new developer to look at if they can fit into the program that's set or the criteria that's set for that. The Crossroads project, which is the project between 18-9 Marlboro and Texas Road, is currently status quo. There's nothing happening at this point, neither for or against going on in that project. The other property we have on Texas Road, it's on the south side of Texas Road between Route 9 and Marlboro Road, a 39-acre parcel. We are currently now looking for another developer to develop that property. So that will run through the process of the redevelopment agency and seek out different developers to keep these parcels moving along and then feed into the economic development portion of our town. So segue into the economic development. Currently, as the mayor said, economic development in this town has never been stronger. It is growing day by day. Our branding and marketing efforts and campaign are serving us well. Our Think Old Bridge, we have it all, and Old Bridge Works for Business campaign is driving business into this town. We have opened and cut ribbons for 127 businesses in a short period of time of only 2.5 years. But the real number is 140. And 140 equates out to large corporations that don't even accept the offer of having a grand opening, or small businesses who just don't want a grand opening for some reason or not. Also, doctors' offices and professional services that open up in the hospital and smaller offices, we don't get to interact with them too much, but they open up. So there's a lot of energy happening in the town. Our growth has been recognized by the county and the state and nationally through our Amazon proposal. So in recent, just last month, the mayor, myself, council was there. I was invited to be a panelist at the League of Municipalities. The League of Municipalities, all our officials know what they are, but our audience at home and the audience in the back is where all the municipalities get together to discuss topics and go on. I was invited to be a panelist along with the mayor and our council to be there to talk about economic development in Old Bridge and about our Amazon, lessons learned and what about Amazon. Interesting enough, 2 days before, 2 days after the announcement that Amazon had made to pick their locations, we had a conference call with Amazon. We're still talking with Amazon. We're talking to their investments and opportunities team, talking about possibilities that Old Bridge may bring for them. It could be an Amazon Go location where you basically swipe your phone when you purchase something. It could be an operations center, which Tennessee got, bringing 2,000 jobs. So we're still in discussions with them, and we're working through that. But at that panel, on that panel, were people from Newark, people from Trenton, another person from the Economic Development Office for New Jersey, and Mayor of Piscataway. But it put Old Bridge front and center out there in front of municipal leaders, state leaders, and other mayors asking questions about what are we doing here in Old Bridge? How are we doing it? What's going on? So that, in all, basically, what I want to do is allow, and most of we know what we have here in Old Bridge, but what we have is in the way of businesses. We have a hospital. We have a company now which does light industry. They create pipes for major power plants. We have companies in this town that create fittings and devices that supply the aeronautics industry, the healthcare and hospitals industry. And we also have a company in town that basically what they do is they provide specialty components and they create components that supplies all the hospital, all the hotels with the cable boxes. We have bait and tackle shops. We have marinas. We have everything in between that you cannot imagine what we have in this township. So by listing all of those out, and one last thing is we have hatchet throwing. Hatchet throwing feeds into our design of making Old Bridge a destination location. And that feeds and drives more economy in the town. So a couple of last points. Major companies now are investing in our township. Chick-fil-A is coming. K. Hovnanian has taken office space. Warehouse is coming. Aldi has just opened up. Dollar Tree has just opened up. We also have Bubba's 33 that's just opened up in the Gateway Shopping Center. Tractor Supply Company is coming. This is economic growth. This is people who see the value of Old Bridge in our location. A couple other points. The other component here is working with property owners, shopping center owners to drive more economy and economic development. So if you take such locations like the land that we connected the warehouse, we connected them to sell 45 acres. We now have a 315,000 square foot warehouse. We worked closely with the owner of the property of the Raceway gas station on Route 9. And we said, please, take the building down and we will work together to get something else there. And that building is gone now. The Lowe's property, which, as we say, could be a thorn in everyone's side, but there's a lot of activity going on in the Lowe's property on the back end. We had a car dealership looking to take it. And currently, we're in negotiations with something. They're in negotiations with something. But it's a very tricky path to go down. There's a lot of tax implications, dividing up the properties, but something is going to happen on that parcel in a short period of time. The last two things is my phone, my email, my social media accounts are constantly inquiries about what's going on in town, people giving us leads. We're constantly out there going after companies like the Shake Shack, Ruck Coffee, Tim Horton, and all others that we see are looking for locations. Last but not least, our strategic plan in this township. Over the course of the years, we've developed a strategic plan. What are we focused on? What are we hearing from the community? All right, so our focus is on the growth, retail and commercial, warehousing, restaurants, office, and entertainment. Basically, to show that Old Bridge is here. Old Bridge has been around for a long time. It's been around many years, since the 1700s. So what I like to tell them is Old Bridge has an historic future, all right? And our campaign, Think Old Bridge, is the one that's driving us to the economic prosperity that we have right now. So I want to thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Steve.
And we look forward to just moving the needle forward. Questions? Questions?
Does anyone from the council have any questions?
The hotel.
Anyone? Any questions?
No, basically just a comment that it is obvious that there is a lot of activity and positive activity from small businesses, and just like you said, we're getting a hotel now. The facade's up. They're moving forward with that. When we visit Kennedy International, that was a win-win for that area. That changed that area, and I think more positive things will happen because of that one structure that is so positive. It like beautified the area. We would think, how can a warehouse beautify the area? But they did an amazing job with the grounds. But not only that, when you speak to the employees there, they are so thrilled with their position. The owners are so dedicated to their employees and the community, and it's nothing but positive. So I really hope that area, that we see more things coming, and I anticipate that, and I want to thank you for all the energy that you put into it day in and day out.
You're welcome. One comment I'd like to make, the redevelopment agency did assist in making that happen out there and creating the redevelopment area in the back there. So we worked tirelessly at that. From the economic development side, it was getting that first company to come in, driving them here, meeting with them, going out to their other facility and showing them about Old Bridge, and then working that joining of them purchasing land in the town. And the mayor had mentioned the hotel is coming. That's going to be a win-win for us as well.
Anyone else have
I think it's important to recognize that on the warehouse, the council authorized the pilot agreement that has generated a significant revenue for the town as well as the school district. So, it's really a first one in that area. Waterworks Road will be developed based on that now. There's more interest coming. We have a lot of businesses that we work with in terms of their approval process now. Steve works closely with them, going through that, as well as throughout the construction phase, working with the code enforcement, building department. So I think that there is tremendous focus in attracting business, retaining business.
Councilman Cahill?
Yes, so, the results are obvious, right? Unfortunately, all the grand openings are usually during the day, and I can't make them. But I see them on Facebook and, Steve's social media, and it's great. I think, Mayor appointing Steve was a home run. He's relentless. He cares about the town. You can see it. And I've been to a couple of the Business Alliance meetings, and he's got a great rapport, and he's a great advocate and spokesperson for Old Bridge. So, keep up the good work. We've been doing great work, and, I see the trajectory just getting even better. Thank you.
Just wanted to say, as far as Ward 3 goes, I know a lot of people in Ward 3 are concerned with the shopping centers that are still empty, so I want to assure them that I've been working with Steve, but I want to make sure that we also notify people via the council meetings of what's going on there too, because there's still a lot of things that need to happen in Ward 3 specifically. So I'll continue to stay in touch with you, continue to inform me what's coming up down the pipeline and down the road, and also make announcements here at the council meetings. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to add one thing. With all the new openings of stores, and whether it's restaurants, whatever it is in town, please shop Old Bridge. We want these businesses to be successful, and they'll only be successful if we frequent them. Thank you.
Okay, I'll close the comments by also saying I think you've done a terrific job, Steve. I think the Business Alliance is a very important component, because sometimes a business will come to town and then they have no communication. So what you've created is such a nice atmosphere for them. I've been to many of the meetings, and it's nice to see them all sharing ideas and coming, you know, and being part of the town. And I think that's really what's very important, is that communication component. So I thank you very much. I think you've done a really very good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And one last point. This Thursday evening, we have our Alliance meeting, but this one is special. It allows the businesses to come together, whether they're in Old Bridge or not, and bring a toy for a tot.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the Grill Stone this Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And in collaboration with Pro Physiotherapy and All American Ford, which we fill up the All American Ford with toys. So that's the key, and that brings our community together.
Exactly.
And community is, there's unity, so that's what we
There
want to
is,
create.
you know, and that's a great thing for us. It really is. Thank you very much.
Council President, you were at a meeting this afternoon with a small business coming forward, wanting to sponsor a 5K run here in Old Bridge to raise money for the Stride and Ride program. So you're 100% right that these bring, you know, this brings our community together.
Yeah, it really, it's a very positive thing, and I really think that the businesses feel that we appreciate them being here, and that they have an ear, you know, if they need some help, or, you know, share their ideas, and they're willing to give back to the community 180%. I am so proud. Thank you.
And one last point, any of the council members, if you want to give me a call anytime you want, we're working with Councilwoman Brown, so just give me a call, and we'll provide you with any information you need. If you have any leads, just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Approval of minutes of previous meetings. Combined meeting, October 22nd, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Approval of minutes, combined meeting, November 19th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Approval of minutes, executive session, November 19th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Abstain.
Mr. Murphy?
Off the yes. Off the
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes. Bill listing.
7 yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. 7 yes, 1 abstention.
Bill listing, Mrs. Walker.
Bill list for December 10, 2018. Accounts payable, December 10, 2018, $10,619,613.14.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
8 yes.
Payroll, November 21st, 2018, $886,955.82.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Piscatty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
8 yes.
Payroll overtime, November 21st, 2018, $48,317.21.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli. And Mr. Shaw, can we have a breakout, please?
Thank you, Council President. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime for the period was $48,317.21. There was an uptick in the public works for snow removal on November 15, and there was also overtime this period for the elections. For the police department, for the sworn officers, total overtime for this period was $35,274.26. When you deduct for ETO of $10,842.81, the net overtime was $24,431.45, representing 573 men and women hours. There was 2 officers injured on duty at this period.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Okay.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscatty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll, December 7, 2018, $1,024,905.61.
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Who moved it? I couldn't see. Mr. Murphy? Okay, Mr. Murphy moved it, and then Dr. Greenberg seconded.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscatty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, December 7, 2018, $54,194.31.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker and second by Dr. Greenberg Belli. Mr. Shaw?
Thank you, Council President. Again, as Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime for the pay period was $54,194.31. Again, there was a storm on November 17 related overtime in Public Works, and the Buildings and Ground staff work overtime at the Senior Center for the ceiling replacement cost that was charged to the CDBG program. For the police officers, the sworn officer overtime for the pay period was $33,721.06. When you deduct for the ETO of $10,369.92, the net overtime was $23,351.14, representing 539 men and women hours, and during that period, there were 3 officers reported injured on duty.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
What was that date for? What were the dates on that one? For this overtime one?
This is payroll ending December 7th.
7th.
Okay, did that include any of the overtime for the Christmas lights?
I believe, I have not received the breakdown, but no, this pay period does not include it will be a next pay period.
It lit up December 1st, didn't it?
Yeah, but the pay period ends before the December 1st. It was paid on December 7th, but it was earlier before the December 1st. So the next pay period will include the overtime.
Very good, yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes,
President Soho?
Yes.
9 yes.
that concludes the bill list.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Walker. Public hearings and ordinance for second reading. H1, Release Reduction Performance Guarantee, Ecosystems Irrigation, application number 05-16Z, block 13264.11, lot 58.12, bond number B1178923. Good evening.
Good evening, council.
Can we put the gentleman on record?
Yep, sure.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Brian Resnick, Ecosystems.
Good evening, council, council president. This was an application that was in front of our zoning board for an expansion of an existing successful irrigation business within town. It's actually located just east of Route 9 along Inverness Drive. The applicant was looking to expand or increase the size of his building. It was located within the parking area within his site. Once he was completed with his building expansion, he actually just restriped the parking lot, added some exterior sidewalk, and some access to the interior of the building. All site work has been inspected. It has been completed as per plan. We just asked that as part of the condition, the as-built plan be submitted to our office, as well as any payment of outstanding escrows. The performance guarantee that was posted for this project was $120,968.70, of which in form of bond was $108,871.83. The cash portion represented $12,096.87.
Thank you. Anyone from the council have any questions? Anyone from the public? Oh, I gotta do the public. Anybody from the public have any questions first? Seeing no hands, I'll close public portion. Council? Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soho?
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice holiday. While you're here, Mrs. Shapiro, I'd just like if you could give us a little overview on what's going on Route 18. Thank you.
There is a project that has begun by DOT, probably in about September timeframe, where they're doing improvements to Route 18 from Ruse Lane in East Brunswick, and then it actually carries all the way down to Texas Road, actually just a little bit beyond Texas Road. A lot of what they're doing right now, especially in the median area south of East Brunswick, where there's vegetative surface or around Maple and Birch and that sort of area, they're taking out the trees in that location. It's important to DOT not to have any trees in their clear zone, is what they call it. They're going to be putting in guide rail in certain locations. They're actually putting in utility lines because there's going to be variable message signs within the median area. And if you're not familiar with a variable message sign, it's something like, inclement weather coming, use caution. Click it or ticket, any of those variable message signs. They can't have the tree roots in conflict with the guide rail, in conflict with any of their utilities, so they had to take them down within that median area. There's other improvements. Really, it's a pavement rehabilitation project. There's intersection improvements along the way, signal timing, guide rail improvements, ADA compliance with the curb ramps at the intersection. So it's pretty much a pavement rehabilitation project with some additional sort of ancillary items included with that. Initially, when they had started to clear trees, they had identified it on their contract plans as selective clearing. So when I had first taken a look at a set of plans, and we're talking about 300 plan sheets, it was not clear that they were going to be taking down the trees definitively, but they are down. More recently, some of the complaints that have come in is that they have taken the trees down. They have been down for a long time. The trees are still down, but within the median area. I notified their resident engineer that they are to remove them immediately. However, in DOT world, it's a hard tell. Their traffic ops north department has to clear any lane closures. They find it hard to do within the month of December because of inclement weather and also the holiday season. So they're not inclined to close down a lane so that the truck can get there to load up the logs that are left there. I asked that they reach out to Traffic Ops North and try and figure it out before the holiday seasons. However, it will be done within the January timeframe.
Well, thank you very much. There was a lot of misinformation out there. I can tell you firsthand, I got several calls from residents, and the stories that were going out there were crazy. So I just wanted to make sure we spoke with you and let everyone in the public know what's going on and why. Okay, so thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
And also, Council, if I could just say, if any of the residents that are watching, if they follow us on Facebook, on our website, and Mary's very helpful in posting everything, and she puts it on our TV screen, and she also tries to tweet about it to kind of get the word out, especially about the trees when we were getting a lot of the complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Yeah, I want to thank you for that. I must have got 30 calls, and I was trying to explain it, and I couldn't explain why the trees were coming down. You made a lot of sense there. But just to let you know, I wrote when I was coming down today, I didn't see any real trees laying there anymore, and I saw 2 cars had basically picked up all, I guess they're using it for firewood, all the stuff is gone, so it's pretty well clear right now. Just want to let you know that.
I know a lot of the residents had asked if they could pick it up. I mean, certainly I have no problems, but I'd rather them not stop on a state highway and impede traffic.
Well, they're on the shoulders doing it all day. I do
it is good firewood, though.
One person had called, they want to know if they had a tree removal permit. I told them, I'm sure they don't need it.
Nope.
Okay,
State
that's all.
highway,
Tell them that.
they don't have to come to us.
Okay, thank you.
Chairperson,
Yes.
am I able to ask the engineer other questions or?
About the trees? Or?
No,
About the Route 18
about
project?
an engineering thing, or should I wait until council comments?
I think, do you want to wait for the council comments?
Whatever you want.
Okay, yeah. I think this way we'll move on, and thank you. Okay. Preliminary public comments to council subject to the following conditions and restrictions. During the preliminary public portion of the meeting, any person may address the Township Council on any subject matters for a maximum period of 5 minutes. Any such person desiring to speak during the preliminary public portion shall first sign a list maintained by the Township Clerk for such purpose. Comments during the preliminary public comment portion of the meeting shall not encompass second reading ordinances or any other matter for which comment or a public hearing is to occur at the meeting.
Richard Green?
First off, I was promised another 2.5 minutes because I was shortchanged the last time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here, it's about time. I don't want my reputation to be harmed through lies and distortions of truth. Number of meetings ago, Council Member Greenberg said she was stalked, and she mentioned my name, and she referred to the Tax Commission, because apparently there was some controversy about her property and the assessment on her property. I can assure you that I would never use any position that I have, especially the Tax Commission, to search and to try to discover information on a resident. Never, I would never do that. And by the way, the Tax Commission doesn't maintain individual property records. They only handle really the assessment of the entire township. But that's Danita Greenberg trying to refer or harm my reputation. But the real Anita Greenberg is an individual who would make a deal with a resident to appoint that person to a sought-after position in return for campaign contributions. And I'm not talking about $300, I'm talking about well over $10,000. That's the real Anita Greenberg.
Excuse me, I do not, I'm not.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Please, I am speaking. I am speaking. Mary, I am speaking. Let me finish.
It would be nice if you told the truth.
Anita Greenberg is the same person who can get an attorney to send me a letter to eliminate a comment that I made on Facebook about her. Anita Greenberg is the same person who will go to the company of a sitting council member and complain to the company and say, I do business with you. I want you to do something about this council member who posted something on Facebook. It wasn't me, it was another sitting council member. But that's Anita Greenberg. Anita Greenberg is the same person who sat next to me on the council, and when I voted a certain way on a controversial issue, she reached over to me and said, ha, 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 you're never going to get that commission, that appointment on the tax commission. That's the real Anita Greenberg. Anita Greenberg is the same person who got an individual to seek after all my correspondence through the township to the governor's office relative to my appointment on the tax commission. Now let's talk about the property that Anita Greenberg has. There's always been some controversy as to what she was going to do with her original home because she had a second home built on the property. First it was, well, they were going to take the property down, and then it was, no, we'll do this and we'll do that. The original property still exists, and she got a township employee to designate it as an ancillary property, which is defined as a garage, a shed, or gazebo, not a functioning resident that has heat and water. As a matter of fact, there's a rumor that Mary Sohas stayed there during the time when she sold her house and bought a second home.
Well,
that's the rumor.
That's not true. No, and I will say it unequivocally.
Okay.
It's not true. So,
as a result of that designation, she had a $100,000 reduction in the assessment of her property. $100,000. I think that's illegal, and I think the attorney should investigate it. Anita Greenberg has two parcels of property. One small portion is she claims a farmland assessment, which is a reduction in taxes. In order to get a farmland, is that 5 minutes or 7.5? That's fine. Okay. In order to get farmland assessment reduction, you have to sell produce. You have to sell something. She claims on the form that she sells 20 cords of wood annually. 20 cords of wood. I don't think there's enough wood on that property for her even to get 20 cords of wood. Let me go back to stalking. Several years ago, I went to a Christmas social dinner, and when I walked out, lo and behold, who's sitting outside watching who was there was Anita Greenberg. You talk about stalking? I went home, and sometime between 11 o'clock and midnight, I had a knock on my door. It was Anita Greenberg and Debbie Walker, who came into my house and demanded that I vote for you, Mary, for council president at that time. You laugh. That's how you think you can get away with this, Anita Greenberg. Well, you got your cronies here anyway, so. Going back to the promise to get this individual appointed to a board, the Republican majority wouldn't go along with it. So right after that, Anita Greenberg had a scorched earth policy against any Republican who didn't support her in getting this individual appointed. Going back, I would like the attorney to investigate the property, the $100,000 reduction in the assessment, as also the farmland assessment deal that she made with the township. I'd like to see the records of any cords of. Does anybody buy any cords of wood from Anita Greenberg? Did anybody in the last few years get a tax reduction on their property? Anybody? No. You make an improvement on your property, and your taxes go up. They don't go down. Ha ha ha. Well, I may be back, but I think for now
Mr. Green, you're 2.5
Good.
minutes.
For now, I've had enough. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, I certainly knew you weren't coming here to wish me happy holiday, but I wish you peace and a good holiday.
William Bath, or Bath?
Good evening, everybody. My name is William Bath. I live in London Terrace. I've been a member of the Madison Park Volunteer First Aid Squad for 32 years. In that 32 years that I was a member, and still am, I've been president 3 or 4 times, going on my 5th. We have a problem with the town, as you must very well know. Our monies are being withheld. At this time, I'm asking you to please release those monies so we can continue to volunteer and operate. Our squad has been in business since 1957. The people at that time were so loyal, one of them actually second mortgaged his house without telling his wife to the day he died 10 years ago that he second mortgaged it to put a building up and get rigs. We want to continue our tradition, but without money, we cannot. We cannot continue our tradition. I've delivered 4 babies. I've done a number of, over 100-something CPR calls over the years. Just this past Saturday, due to my training, I brought a man back to life in church Saturday morning by doing CPR on him. Thank God for the Old Bridge Police showing up as quick as they did when needed. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you. I don't know what's going on with the lawsuit, and I don't care. I'm worried about my organization going under and me having to put the locks on the doors, which I'm not looking forward to do at all. So again, I'm begging you to please help us out, release our money, let us continue on and on and on. It costs a lot of money just to train people these days. Training where it was free at one time is not. To make payments on our ambulances, our insurance, our fuel, our maintenance, and our supplies is a small fortune. Believe me when I tell you, I'm glad it's not coming out of my pocket personally. I couldn't afford it. So again, I implore you, please consider this, release our monies, because we haven't been paid yet in this fiscal year of 2018. We're coming into 2019 now, 2019. I hate to see you have to pay us double at one shot, but I'm asking you, please. I'm worried about my squad, nothing else going on. Thank you very much for your time. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
George Antonelli?
No, not that.
Hello and
good evening.
Welcome, everyone. My name is George Antonelli, and I'm the captain of the Madison Park Volunteer First Aid Squad. I'm going to read a statement first, just to bring everybody up to par here as to what's going on with the volunteer squads in the town. Old Bridge Township Emergency Medical Services and its parent volunteer ambulance squads, which is us, have a long and decorated history of serving to the community. Unfortunately, for the past year, Old Bridge Thames and the volunteer ambulance squads have been locked in a stalemate with the township and the administration over their refusal to provide reimbursements mandated under the federal auto kickback statute, anti-kickback statute, and to release budgeted funds for the volunteer ambulance squads. The administration has cut off critical funding for the 5 volunteer squads and threatened to seize ambulances and equipment. After Old Bridge Thames was forced to go to court, Assignment Judge Alberto Riveras enjoined the town from seizing the 2 ambulances which Old Bridge Thames had used to provide emergency medical services to the community of Old Bridge, including over 9,400 calls since 2015. The appellate division affirmed this injunction. You guys basically, because of this lawsuit, you're taking it out on the volunteer squads. Yes, I am 1/5 owner of Old Bridge Thames, as there are 5 squads all total that own Old Bridge Thames, and you are choking us to drop this lawsuit. It is not right that you're taking this out on the volunteers. We have done a year of service and we have not been paid our stipend for it. I'm asking you people to please release the funds, because it's critical now and you're going to start affecting the volunteer services here at night. Mr. Mayor, you have said that your #1 priority in this town is public safety, correct? Oh, okay. Mayor Henry was on TV a couple of weeks ago stating on TV that his #1 priority is public safety, okay? If you're going to hold back our money, how can that be your #1 priority? I'm going to ask you to please release our funds and stop playing this game with the volunteer squads in the town. You have an open suit with Old Bridge Thames, fine. They can battle it out. But if you're going to choke the volunteer squads and hold back our funds, it's going to cut service in the town. So I'm pleading with you people to please release the volunteers' money. Now, I've been a volunteer in this town since 1987, and I've been with the Madison Park First Aid Squad since 1991 for 26 years already, and I'm still a member of the Madison Park Volunteer Fire Company since 1987 for 31 years. I don't even live in this town any longer, but I still stayed as a volunteer. I have pride in this town, but lately your actions are really discerning to me. It's detrimental what you're doing, and you need to reverse that decision to let our funds go. Come January, you're going to owe each squad $90,000 instead of the $45,000 that we get. Now, I don't know what the issue is here, but your strategy of holding back the volunteers' money is going to blow up in your face. Okay? I thank you all for listening, and everybody have a great holiday.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll close the public portion, and I will go to council comments. Anyone on my left? Okay, council comments? All right, Mr. Rizzoli.
Thank you, Council President. No, I just wanted to mention today in the local paper, if anybody didn't see it, was discussed about the cut in Old Bridge school aid, how the reduction in staff could, affect our children adversely with cancellation of clubs, all kinds of electives, as well as possibly increasing school size. I know we passed a resolution unanimously by this council. I think it's time we hear from our assembly people. Senator Thompson needs to speak up regardless of what happens. Being in the Monmouth County District, I think, hurts us adversely, and I think enough is enough. You know, when you look at these Abbott districts throughout the state, I could tell you a few from Hudson County, Hoboken, Harrison, West New York, their economic growth's off the charts. You know, we should not be penalized because we pay our taxes. Our children have a right to prosper, and we're here to defend our children. I think it's a disgrace what's being done by the state. Thank you.
Else on my left? Huh? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Okay.
First, to the engineer, where do we stand with that? A couple of months ago, we discussed the Red Shore Valley, or the Red Shore commercial part.
Councilman Merwin, I think the way we left it last time was, the sightline was cleared with the trees, but you were talking about the commercial development? Is that what you're talking about, Richard?
Yes.
I thought the way we had ended it was that I was trying to let council know that certainly, you know, as a town, we can go to litigation and go after the owner, who was the owner that was committed to building the commercial, and then, you know, work with the new property owner getting the commercial up. But I thought that because the current property owner was working with potential business owners for that commercial, that we would have him work it out.
Well, that's exactly what I'm asking. Do we have an update on it? Are we going to give them a carte blanche for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? We're not going to enforce the developer's agreement, or, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. Are they actively seeking to develop that property, or do we need to go to court?
I believe it was a month ago, right?
I believe it was a couple of months ago, but that's all right.
Okay.
You know.
My update stands as it is. I'm not constantly in communications with the property owner to see what they're building. I'd rather actually not do that. I'd rather not waste taxpayer dollars so that I can go after a developer to build commercial and let it sit empty unless he has somebody that wants to occupy that building. And then I don't want to disrupt the neighborhood that is behind that commercial component and put up empty storefronts. So the idea is not to go after the developer at this point, and to have him come to us with potential people that want to develop the site.
Well, and I understand all of your concerns. My concern is, then why are we even bothering with developer agreements if we're not going to enforce the developer agreements?
Sir, I think what I had talked about before was that was during a time where the previous township engineer had stepped down. It was sort of an anomaly in that our new township attorney at that point, I think that was one of the first developers agreement that he had done with the town. I don't want to say that the engineering department didn't know about it, but there was sort of a lack of continuity in that. The township engineer had retired at that point. It was missed. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But the new property owner who basically says that he was unaware of the developer's agreement until I brought it to his attention, and with the fact that the residents who have bought all these beautiful homes behind this commercial component have grown accustomed to not having a commercial component in front of their homes, and that peaceful atmosphere, and to not have one of the first commercial developments or new commercial developments along the 527 corridor be built just to sit empty. I think there's a lot of components that we take into consideration before we go after a property owner for not building that commercial. In this case, it's an anomaly.
Well, the people that bought the houses were fully aware of a development going in front of their development when they bought the houses. The person that bought the property has legal redress if that was withheld from him. And that's his problem, not our problem. Our problem is that we have a developer agreement that says we should be building commercial facilities and getting the proper taxes, and we're not. That's my concern. How long are we going to allow it? I don't care if we're going to give them 6 months, but let's set a date that says, you know, what we're going to do, what we're going to do. We're always trying to bring in commercial. Now we're worrying about bringing in commercial that's going to sit empty. I don't know. All right, I think it was, I sent Matt Mercurio a suggestion that I had received from one of our residents in reference to an iBoat program, which consists of sailboats, you know, and it being a program that could be run by the township and allow people, mainly juveniles, to participate in sailboating and stuff. We don't need a deep water launch part. They launch right off of the beach by trailer. And my response was that I should give that through to the administration and, you know, and let you guys take the run with it. So I'm requesting that, since Matt Mercurio already knows about the information through my email, that you guys discuss it, and please, let's put it forward. And I mean, if it dies, it dies, but at least let's give it a chance, and I think it'd be a great asset to our recreational program. You know,
we'll look into that. We'll look into that.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Merwin. Anyone else on my left? Mr. Cahill.
Yeah, I just simply want to wish all the residents a very Merry Christmas and Happy and Healthy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side? Okay. And how about on my right? Anyone for council comments? Mr. Pescitti?
Yes, I also want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I want to just thank all the staff, the administration, for all the hard work and efforts. Appreciate it. Doing a good job. Steve Mamakis, nice presentation, very nice. Keep it up. You know, I'm a little embarrassed about people come up and the public comments, and they, you know, don't consider, you know, others. You know, and it's just sad when people can just come up and impugn others' characters, you know, just with a whim, you know, just with our words. I just think that we should be more caring and more respectful for each other, especially during this season. I also would like the lawyer, if he could please respond to the issue. I know we're in litigation, we can't really say anything, but there was a process, and if the lawyer can please address the process for the resident, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else for council comments? Mrs. Ward.
Yes, I've received a lot of phone calls and emails from people. They've been complaining about their taxes, that they've had a large increase in their taxes, and I've been explaining to them that our municipal taxes have been extremely stable for years. It's the Board of Ed taxes which have gone up, especially quite substantially this past time, because I don't know if you're all aware, the governor cut the funding to Old Bridge schools. He took the funding and he gave it to other school districts, which are already getting a lot of money, and they're getting a lot more money to educate their children than we are, which I think is totally unfair. And this was the governor who did this. So people, please look at your tax bills. There was a pie chart included in your tax bill, and it shows the breakdown of the taxes. Everybody wants to blame the municipality because all of the money that you send is collected through us. It's paid to Old Bridge Township. But then we have to give the money out to different entities like the Board of Ed, fire districts, the library board gets a portion, and then the county gets a hefty chunk too. We only get about 20 cents on every dollar. So I just want you to aware that it's really largely your board ed taxes that have gone up, and maybe you want to start going to some meetings, because I think next year you might be hit with another increase as well, because the funding's going on for quite a few years now. So I just want you to be aware, and everybody, I want to wish you a happy holiday.
Anyone else? Dr. Greenberg?
Okay. I want to speak about Facebook and some of the things that were on there. First of all, I don't Facebook. The only way that I find out about these things is that different constituents snapshot it and send it to me and then ask me questions about it. And there was one inference in the Facebook where it made a reference with the MUA and the township. And it said something that, to the extent that, that there's, and it's blatantly false, first of all, and this could be resolved by simply asking questions, but it says that the BA, the business administrator, has something to do with the budget at the MUA. That is totally false. The budget of the township and the budget of the MUA are two separate things. And as far as the MUA's budget, there is two different budgets. There's a sewer division and there's a water division, and they are not commingled at all. So I just want to make that very clear. If anyone saw that Facebook post, that what you read is not true. And that brings me to something else. It is very sad with Facebook and the parents, Old Bridge parents, when people had copied this, and they use vulgarity on there, and they use profanity and demeaning comments and threatening comments, it's very disturbing because students see that and youngsters see that, and I really think that we have to be a better example all the time. We have to have a level of decency, and especially at this time of year, this season should really be about peace and love and good spirits. And with that, I wish everyone a joyous holiday. Take a breath from all these things. Think before you say things, and just enjoy yourselves, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and I wish you all good health and happiness and prosperity in the new year. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the council comments then by just wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, a happy and healthy New Year, and to please everyone, like Dr. Greenberg said, take a minute and reflect, and somehow this time of year we should have a little more concern for each other. Thank you. Report of the Township Clerk.
None at this time.
Thank you.
None at this time, thank you.
Report of the Township Attorney.
I didn't have one, but I'll respond for Councilman Schetti. Let's just set one thing straight. The Township of Old Bridge did not file suit. Suit was filed by OB Thames. So that's that. It's in litigation. I'm not going to debate with you or get into the details of litigation, but as one of you acknowledged, every volunteer company has a representative on OB Thames board, which means that, assuming, I would think, that everybody voted to file that suit on behalf of OB Thames. So that being the case, you would have to have been aware of what may be part of litigation. The funds have been budgeted, but they are not appropriated at this time because of the litigation and the issues involved in that. Other than that, I'm not going to say anything else about litigation. It's in litigation, and when it resolves, it resolves. If it goes to trial, it goes to trial. So that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lozier. Administrative report, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Council Presidents. The administrative report for December 10, 2018. Item number 1, Ticetown Road resurfacing Phase 2. Bids were received and open for to the public on Friday, November 30th, 2018 at 10 a.m. for the Ticetown Road resurfacing Phase 2 contract number 2018-62. 10 contractors submitted bids that range from $240,911.34 to $310,629.56. Topline Construction Corporation is the lowest bidder at $240,911.34. Award of their contract has been included on tonight's consent agenda for approval by council. Construction is anticipated to begin early spring of 2019. The project is funded through capital bond. Number 2, fall leaf collection. Final leaf collection should be completed during the week of December 10th in Ward 5 and 6. This concludes the township's leaf pickup for the year. If you still have leaf bag at your curb, please email publicworks@oldbridge.com. Item number 3, Old Bridge Business Alliance is a dynamic business networking group which has received statewide recognition and is free for any business to join. The final 2018 Business Alliance meeting and annual Toys for Tot Drive is scheduled for December 13, 2018 at 6 p.m. at Grillstone on Route 516. Please bring a new unwrapped toy for a child. For additional information on local businesses and related opportunities, residents should contact the Economic Development Office at 732-721-5600 extension 7920 or email obedo@oldbridge.com. Item number 4, 8 grand openings in the last quarter of 2018. We're proud to report that 8 small and large businesses have opened in the township over the last 3 months. Small business employ almost 50% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. For additional information on local businesses and related opportunities, residents should contact the Economic Development Office at extension 7920 or email obedo@oldbridge.com. 2019 recycling schedule, item number 5. Please check the township website for 2019 bi-weekly curbside pickup schedule. If you would like a schedule mailed to you, please call Township Old Bridge at extension 6107. Item number 6, recycling coach. Township of Old Bridge recently introduced the new recycling coach app. Residents can download the app and get reminders about curbside recycling, important schedule change, storm alerts, and more. The What Goes Where feature is a great tool to find out how to dispose of household items and recycle right. For more detail, go to www.oldbridge.com/recycling. I think I downloaded that app. It's a really good app. It's very helpful, along with the schedule and getting information on how to recycle. Item number 7, Old Bridge Food Bank Holiday Collection. Anyone wishes to contribute to the food bank this holiday season can drop off donation at Old Bridge Food Bank or the Senior Center. For additional information and or list of need items, residents should contact the Senior Center at extension 6625 or visit Township website at oldbridge.com. Item number 8, Christmas and New Year's holiday. Township will be closed on Tuesday, December 25th, 2018 for Christmas and on Tuesday, January 1, 2019 for New Year's Day.
Okay, thank you,
That
Mr.
concludes my report. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
make a motion.
Any council comments on the report?
Mr. Sawar?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Cahill.
I was just going to echo what Mr. Shaw said about the app. I mean, I downloaded it on my personal phone. It's really easy. You download it in like 15 seconds. You get reminders about when your ward is up for recycling. It's really easy. I think it's a great app. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll take a motion to approve his administrative motion by Mr. Murphy.
Second.
Second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Consent agenda, I will ask for a motion and a second, and then bring it out to the public, and then bring it back to council for separations.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mr. Murphy. I'm now opening it up to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on any of the consent agenda items? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion and now come to council for separations. C16, Mr. Rizzoli, okay. Anyone else down this way for separations?
C16, I'm sorry.
16, I don't have anything.
Okay.
4, C6,
Okay, one second. C4, C6, okay.
and C15.
And C15. Okay. Anyone else on this side for separations?
No.
Okay. On this side? This is
C7.
okay. Anyone else for separations? Okay. Seeing no other, I will ask then for a vote on the balance. Yeah, we already moved in sec. We got to vote.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
And Mrs. Soha?
Yes.
That was on the, that was just on the balance.
That's on the balance, okay. Now, C4, Mr. Merwin.
You could, that's a nice chunk of change. I'm glad we're getting these kind of grants. That's $250,000. But could you explain what it's for?
This is an annual grant that is provided by the state under the state, state Division of Criminal Justice for Safe and Secure Community. It covers the 2 officers' salary. The grant amount, it varies. I think we get $60,000 roughly annually, but we're allowed to request for up to 2 officers' salary.
This says we're getting $254.
This is a request.
Oh, this is, okay.
Yeah.
This is not getting it, right? Thank you.
Okay? Yep. All right, anyone else, any questions on C4?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin and second by Mr. Murphy.
Okay, Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
C6, Mr. Merwin.
Yes. I'm going over this contract award, and it seems that Top Line is quoting a price for blacktop, I guess it is, the asphalt, at $62, and everybody else is in the area of $88 and above. So my concern is, they're like almost $50,000 less in that area. They're not going to be able to come back and tell us, oh, the asphalt costs more than we thought, and the cost of the thing is going to go up, right? They're locked in for that. Okay. Very good.
Anyone else?
I'll move it.
Second.
Wait, no, there's a question here.
Really, it's just a comment, and I've said it before. It's unfortunate that there was some building that went on Ticetown Road in the area where this is going to be repaved, and it was a creeping subdivision, and if the builder had gone in for all his units at the same time, the township could have asked for some contribution from him, and I brought this to the attention of the zoning board and planning board at the time, and along with other residents, and unfortunately it was ignored. And as you could see, because of this, we could have gotten money from the builder, as, in fact, his trucks, when he's been building the house and they've been delivering things, huge vehicles, has done damage to the road. And that road was in need of repair, yes, before, but not to the condition that it is now. And it is unfortunate that this builder really circumvented the situation. So I just want to bring that again, so hopefully in the future that doesn't happen. Thank you.
And just one other thing, Mrs. Shapiro, do you know time frame wise that they're still finishing up over there? So the resurfacing will be done after they're done with all that heavy equipment, and correct? Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kale?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
C7, Dr. Greenberg.
Yes, this is about improvements that are anticipated to be done at the animal shelter. An addition's going to take place that is, obviously much needed. But if we could have an explanation so the public understands what's going to happen there, that would be great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Captain Scott Gumbrick of the Overbridge Police Department in charge of the animal shelter. What we're looking to do is expand the area of our cat room. Anybody who's been in our shelter know that we have storage on top of some cages, and we're just looking to add additional space for that storage area. And after that's done, if we can move some cats into there, that's what we're looking to do. It's not in addition to store more animals or anything like that. It's basically for storage, and if it works out where we can, configure it in such a way where we can add additional cages, that's what we're looking to do down there.
So one of the things that concern me, obviously, I understand in government you need an architect in order to do this, just like, so people understand in public it's different. Just like when we did the bathrooms here, we needed an architect for it. And I understand the reasoning for it. We were very fortunate that an individual had left, he passed away sadly, but he left a sum of money to go to the animal shelter. And because in government you have to use money for this, it's just very unfortunate. I just don't want to dwindle down the money that he used and had good intentions for it, for architect and everything. And in my own mind, knowing that it hasn't been that long since the expansion and the renovation was done, it's unfortunate we couldn't use the same architect and just have him draw out, but I understand the whole, bidding process. But I hope with this being done in town that we can rely on, one, our engineering department and also our code department. That would be helpful. That would really just look at the plans in a way that could give some professional opinion that would save money when we have to use an outside professional. I'm not saying you, because you're with roads and things, that's not your expertise, but I'm saying in the code department, there are people who, it's one room, it's 250, it's not any, architect, that's anything unusual, that they can give insight, in other words, for whether it's for heat, the HVAC system, for plumbing, just to make this go a little bit more smoothly. And since by law, we have to expend certain money for architect and certain things, if they could just give us their expertise and look at the drawings and help, so then it goes along quicker and, smoothly, without putting something, then saying the inspectors come, oh no, I don't want this here, we have to do it. Maybe they can have hands-on before. just to expedite the situation and also to save money is really the main thing. Instead of using all the money that, we got from the individual, which was so gracious of him, to think to leave it to the animal shelter, not to be used up for ancillary things, but in fact, something that will help the animals. And I thank you really for taking this initiative and realizing, that it would really benefit the animal shelter for space and everything, because they are limited. Maintaining animals and caring for animals is labor intensive, and you need a lot of materials, and you think you have enough space, but there's never enough space. And to keep it clean and, to minimize any infectious diseases, the space will be better instead of crowding animals together and having different fomites that can carry bacteria or viruses through. So I appreciate your time and effort that you put into this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. It's not me, it's Karen Chen and her folks down there. They're doing a good job.
Thank you. I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
C-15, Mr. Merwin.
Yes. The money that's being talked about, we $2.6 million. Is this for building or is this for engineering?
This is, I think the engineering and the planner had made a presentation on our plan. So the total cost is estimated to be over $4 million, which will include the engineering, architect, design engineering, as well as the improvements on the park. So, we're asking the county share specifically for the construction of the parks and the renovation of the building.
All right, so this is just the county's portion and part of the overall thing.
Well, we're hoping that they are our 50-50 partners in the development of these parks.
Yeah, my question, I just don't want to spend $2.6 million on engineering when we have other parks that we've started and we've never stopped, never completed.
Councilman, we never spend that kind of money on a professional service.
That's what I'm asking. It says $885,000 for each one of the 3 projects. That's why I'm asking. All right? Very good, thank you. I'll move it if nobody has any other questions.
Anyone else question?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Merwin and second by Dr. Greenberg.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is C-16, Mr. Rizzoli.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Shaw, I see you have 2 different service contracts here. Is there any reason why we didn't go out to bid for them?
Ken will go
Yeah,
over.
Mr. Lozier
He's been
will
negotiating
address
the
your
contract.
question, okay? Thank you,
Councilman,
Mr. Lozier.
let me just give just a brief synopsis of where we're at on this and how it started. As you're aware, the township spent over $4 million for a radio system that was well overdue. As part of that, the first year, upon completion, there was a maintenance agreement that was at zero cost. I won't call it free because when you spend $4+ million, nothing's free. The second year was negotiated at the time of the contract was $208 for maintenance of the system. We are still in that contract. It expires the end of February. March 1st is when we would need to kick in a new agreement. They initially offered us 2 options. First 3 years. After the 2-year expiration, it'd be 3 years at $208 and some change per year. Then from that year would be the third. After that 3rd year was over, it was a 4-year extension on that at, I believe it was $216.
Right here, yeah.
$216. And so after speaking with Mr. Shaw and some things that he was concerned about, some of the major terms that were negotiated were instead of paid At the beginning of the year, we could make monthly payments towards the contract. That was done. The other issue was, instead of doing what we're doing now for just from 19 to 2022, I asked if they would do the entire 7-year span for us at the same price instead of pumping it up to $216,750, and they agreed to that. So we saved an additional $40,000+ by doing that. So that's what this is for, and would take us out almost 10 years from the time that the radio system was constructed and completed. That's the history of it. That's what took place. The police department was integral in working with me because they had the technical issues that had to be resolved. They went through that with me, told me what they needed. That was taken care of, and Tate was very cooperative. In fact, I received today the signed documents from their president, and we just need to pass this to execute ours, and then the police department won't have to go through this again in 3 years. It'll be set for a 7-year period.
Anyone, Mr. Rizzoli, Mr. Murphy?
I have a little problem, and first of all, I think it's absurd to spend that much money, and I know you don't have to go out to bid, but I really think in something like this, you should. And I have a problem. I don't know how many years this is. You have it, if you count them up, there's 10. You got 2007 counted twice. I'm very confused.
Well, I think, just to be clarified, that it's at $208,000 per year. It may be 80.
How many years is it?
It may be 9 years or maybe 10 years, I'm not sure, because I don't have that in front of me. But I can tell you, it's an annual contract, and while they agreed to hold the price for almost 9 years or 10 years, we only are subject to pay annually. It's subject to funding in the budget. So you could have done 1 year and could have an escalated price clause, and it would have cost more in the future. What Ken did is negotiated to fix the price for all the years.
Okay, what's the first, if you're calling it 3 or 4 years, what years? 2019 to what?
To 22, but again...
Okay, and then what's the next one say? No, excuse me, what's the next one say?
The next one says from 22 to 27.
That's what I'm saying. 22 is in both of them.
Oh my, because it ends in the middle of the year.
Okay. Well, I still think it didn't say that. It just said for the year.
It does say that. It says March 1st, 19 to February 28, 22. Then it says from March 1st, 22, because February 28th is the last day.
I'm sorry.
27.
My computer went dead tonight. I couldn't get the backup. I just got that.
So it doesn't, it's not a repeat, and it's negotiated 208, 650, 157 per year, and we pay monthly.
It just seems like that's an awful lot of money to fix something and maintain it. I mean, it's absurd as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you got a $4 million plus system that controls the safety of the township for communications for fire, EMS, police. I mean, those instruments are not cheap. And the police departments here, if you want to get into specifics, but $200,000, it's a lot of money to all of us. But in the scheme of things, when you spend $4 million, you've got to keep that up and running because everybody's life depends on it. Emergency situations, hurricanes, I mean, this thing has to function. When officers are in schools or buildings, they can't lose communications with each other. And this particular system has been shown to be very effective. They went through a whole lot of studies, did a whole lot of testing, and it covers a lot of the weak spots that were in the township. And there's a whole host of things that were done in this, and the police department's here if you want to ask for more specifics, but, you know, I don't think, first of all, I don't think you're going to get anybody else who's going to come in and maintain someone's system, because they don't have the software, they don't have the parts. It's just, it's not that type of a thing that you can bid out. This is not something that, for instance, this is not something that Motorola can come in and work with, because they don't have the software. It's not compatible to what they do. They don't have the parts. So you're very limited in who is going to maintain a system.
Ken, I think let's just clarify that the price of the maintenance, this project, original project was put out for bid. We had I believe, at the end, Tate was the only one. Motorola wanted almost twice the amount, and their maintenance would have been twice the amount. So the maintenance request for price was included in the bid package. This was bid. What we did is, instead of in the bid, there could have been escalation on a maintenance contract, annual cost of living adjustment or others. We negotiated down to not have those things and freeze the amount. So I think there's, misunderstanding. Yes, it was part of the bid.
How old is the system right now?
This is about 2 years old now.
Are we having problems with it now?
Well, any of this system, there's going to be some issue, but it's nothing, there's major. It's a dramatic improvements from the system we had. And I think $4 million we paid to Tate, but then Township also paid another $1 million to $2 million to purchase radio separately. So it's almost $6 million cost to the town.
But why do it for 9 years? Why not just do it 1 year? I don't like signing something for 9 years.
This saves you money. We're freezing, we're not gonna get anybody else to maintain the system. It's only gonna be one company because it's a proprietary software, proprietary hardware. We can't get somebody else. So if we do a 1-year bid, they can come back and bid you at $250,000 next year, we would lose money.
What if there is someone else out there that can work on it? Don't say you can't. We've had that in the MUA, and we found that there's other companies can work on other people's things, and one of them was radios.
But this is a proprietary system. Others people doesn't have right to their software.
Do they not have a right to work on it after, doesn't the proprietary run out after a certain time? Listen what I'm saying. Does not the proprietary rights to it run out at a certain time?
Yeah, we don't know exactly when, but it's a long term, but we are not locked in. All we're doing is saying, okay, it's subject to annual budgetary appropriation for this. All we need to negotiate the price to fix. There is no guarantee. If there's no money in the next year's budget, they wouldn't get paid. All right. There is a clause in the contract that is subject to budgetary appropriation.
Well, if we did it for 1 year and looked to see if there was something else we could do, they're not going to jump the cost way up for 1 year. If they do, then you picked the wrong company. And that's just how I am, I'm sorry.
Amacho, you're saying that this contract, if we don't fund it, now to the attorney, if we didn't fund it because we got somebody cheaper, would we be violating this contract?
Yes.
So that's just a little tap dance there.
Are you through? Because I'd like to have someone, please, from the police department come up and speak to this issue. Thank you.
I'm going to sit down for this because it's going to probably be a bit. Councilman, what's your specific concerns with the system?
My concern is they are having problems with it now, and that's not the bad thing. The bad thing is we're going to lock ourselves into a 10-year deal. I don't like any contracts you can do that with. 8 years, whatever it is.
To explain what's actually involved in the system, you might be under the impression that it consists of handheld portable radios. There's more to it. We're responsible for microwaves. We have 4 microwave sites in town here. To go in and just to change the direction of a microwave, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. We've had to do it once. Tate North America have already paid for that themselves. No charge to the township. That's one aspect. The system also consists of racks of servers. In those servers controls, I believe it's 6 different devices, some of which are Avtech consoles, which controls our dispatching. We have Eventide recorders because all our phone calls and radio transmissions are recorded. We have the Nokia microwaves. We have a Talisman AVL. All these devices are on servers. Each one of these servers anywhere from $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a pop. As far as what you're looking for is a company coming in to do it, for a company to come and work on, whether it's Motorola or on the Tate system we have, would have to be authorized by that vendor to be able to perform that service. So if you're willing to put the safety of our first responders online by having an unauthorized vendor come and work on our system, I just want you to put that on the record right now.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to do it. I don't believe the mayor is or any of the council.
First of all, I think it's illegal to stop somebody else from coming out and working their equipment when they're qualified to do it.
Again, how do you get qualified if you haven't been authorized by the vendor?
Where are they an American company?
They're Tate North America. They're based out of New Zealand as the parent company, but Tate North America is out of Houston, Texas.
Okay, and when you signed this contract with them, you got no maintenance contract for like 5 years or something?
You had the first year was included in the project at $4 million. The second year, which we're currently in, was 208, which I believe the council appropriated back in February, March of this year. What we're looking to do is have an agreement for the $208,000 for the remainder of the expected life of the system. The expected life of the system is approximately 10 years. It went live in 2017. We want to cover that until 2027.
So if you only had it for 2 years, why didn't you get a maintenance contract extended at that time? Why bring it up now for 8?
That's what we're doing now.
Well, I don't like the idea of 8. Do it for 2. 1, you know, I mean, do you really think it's going to be that much higher? Like, can we at least go back and ask them what it would cost? Maybe it would be the same. You don't know. They're going to want us to keep their radio.
I already did that. They wanted $216 a year.
Okay.
All right, anybody else have any questions for the police?
I would just also note that if you have somebody who is not licensed by Tate repair it, you're going to lose your warranty on the entire system. So if that's what you want to do, it's about $17,000 a month to maintain a system overall cost with the radios and everything that this township invested over $6 million.
How long is that warranty for?
Well, once you sign this agreement, this covers everything. I mean, yeah, it does. It does. It did. The warranty goes, and then it's extended by this. It is.
Okay. No public, no public. Okay, anyone, council have any comments or questions? Dr. Greenberg?
I would just like to say something. I happen to have the article. It's funny how you just happen to come across things. This is from 2009, and this was the Homeland Security appropriation bill in 2010. And they gave the township $500,000 then. It's a big ceremony then, giving the check from the Homeland Security for $500,000, and it was to improve its public safety communication system then. And so if I say that money went very quickly, or you got $500,000 there, it's the times we're living in with technology, it's the mandates that happen, it's the changing world, it's the technology. There's a cost to it. And for $17,033 a month, when you think of the radios that it does, the technology all over town, when Sandy was down, you could still get communications for fire, for EMS. This isn't just radios, as they explained, just running around with hand radios. There's a lot involved there, and I really think because of Homeland Security, a lot of this shouldn't be discussed, perhaps, some of the technology that we have, just saying, but at the same time, things are costly, and it's very unfortunate, and to lock into a contract where it's going to save money, where you don't know whether you're going to be able to go out there and save money, and you can't even void the contract or have anyone else work on this equipment. So you don't want to be buying new equipment. So this is the beast that we have to deal with right now, and I think the contract did the best it could to save money for the township when they try any way you can. So I appreciate that. But I think it's understanding the system, but I don't really think we should be discussing the entire system here.
Okay, Mr. Cahill, and then Mr. Pescetti, I saw your hand as well.
Yeah, so, you know, whether it's a municipality or a private business, whenever you outlay a big capital expenditure, okay, like a radio system or like a new technology, a new system, you vet the vendor, you do your due diligence, which we did, and we decided on this particular vendor. Now, Amanchu's right. There are proprietary rules around who can work on, and Captain, you're absolutely right. You can't bring somebody else in and work on proprietary systems. It voids the warranty, right? But whenever you spend a lot of money on a system like this, there is maintenance agreements that follow. And the reason why you do that is it's almost like insurance, okay? If you don't have insurance on your house and a tree falls on your house, you pay cost, okay? If you don't have a service agreement on a system or a communication system, and God forbid something goes out and the captain was rattling off a couple of things, you're paying cost, okay? It's an emergency situation, okay? And guess what? You're not going to get a very good price. So it sounds like a lot of money. I get it. It sounds like a long term, but I give our attorney credit for negotiating a number that's lower than what we would get, I think, on an annual basis. So again, it sounds like a big ticket item, but to me it makes a lot of sense doing this. I mean, I manage systems at work and we have agreements, and again, it sounds like a lot of money, but you're paying for an insurance policy, if you will, to ensure if the system goes down, and this is obviously a critical system, that you have the agreement in place, you go to the vendor, and the vendor fixes it to the best of their ability. So I'm going to be supporting it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pescitti?
Yeah, just a perception from the IT world, which is my background. I will tell you that normally on a high-end system, you normally look at about 10% of what the cost of the product is for a maintenance contract. So if we paid $4 million for this system, or $6 million, the maintenance on it would normally be between $400,000 and $600,000 a year. That would be normal. So when I look at this, it's actually a good price for what you're getting. And you got to look at the big picture. Yeah, it is a lot of money, but it's necessary for public safety and to provide for our first responders quality equipment. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I know. Does this agreement cover everything, parts, labor? If the thing just blows up and goes out, everything, full replacement?
Everything.
Everything's explained out like that in the contract?
Everything that's state-related is replaced. There's only one item, and I'll let you know that, is the universal power supply that's downstairs that we purchased separately from the radio system.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? Mrs. Walker?
Yes, we paid a lot of money. We waited a long time for the system, and it was really needed. It was in very bad shape. My husband's on the volunteer fire company, and his radio used to crash all the time. And this new system has been amazing. And I think with such a large investment, it does sound like a lot of money, but I think it's necessary for us we have to do this.
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yeah. I don't believe anybody is questioning the need for the agreement. I think they're questioning the length of the agreement. It's unusual that we get an 8-year agreement, and I think that is the biggest concern. It was in there originally as a 2-part, now it's all one. And I think that is where the concern, and with the change of technology and everything, we don't know in 3 years if Tate is not going to lose their proprietary rights to this, and one of the local radio vendors would be able to bid on it and come in at a lesser price. So I think that was the concern. But overall, the agreement is saving the township $40,000 over the life of the agreement. So, which way do you go? I mean, there are problems with the radio, which I'm not going to discuss now, because I don't believe we should be discussing that in public. You were aware of them, so that's all that matters. But to paint the picture is that this is the greatest thing in the world, it has not been true since the system's been put in. We've had problems, and we continue to have problems. So That is the only concern, was the length of the contract. So, that's it. So if everybody else has got no problem with it, I'm not going to have a problem with it, but I think 8 years was a long time, and that's what the concerns, I think, were about.
All right, anyone else have any comments? I'll just say that I think we're doing the right thing by having this contract in place. We did spend a lot of money, made a good investment in the town and in our first responders, and I think it would be foolish now to not continue on and fulfill the commitment that we set out to do. Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Cahill, second by Mr. Pescitti.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, we have no first reading ordinances. Next will be public comments on any subject matter. Is there anyone who would like to come up and speak?
Bill Serra, Obridge. On the issue that you just discussed, the last radio system that was bought, after the free warranty was done, we purchased the warranty for a year. We kept track of how many times they came out and how many hours they spent. Then the second year that we needed to buy one, we asked what the hourly rate was, which was less than what they wanted for the warranty work. So that's what should have been done the second year that you paid $208 for. You should have kept track of how many hours they came out and then seen if you can get an hourly rate. Because you just approved $1.7 million on a brand-new radio system. Brand new. Now, naturally, as the time goes on, it's going to get worse. But maybe the first 3 or 4 years, you're not going to spend that much because it's new. I don't know if there's problems with it or not. But if you were spending your own money, that's the way you would have done it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard from the public? Seeing no hands. Oh, come right up. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you? Just a quick question.
Name, please, for the record.
Sorry, Sal Giordano, 7 Cedar Avenue.
Okay.
And as the total annual budget, how much of a percentage does the maintenance represent?
Okay, Mr. Shaw. Oh. Dawn, would you be able to give us? Okay. Yeah.
Out of the total overall budget of the township?
Of the township, yes, correct.
The township overall budget's about 55 million.
Okay.
So,
So to maintain the system, it's relatively small compared to all the other spending within the
Yes.
township? Okay. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to be heard this evening from the public? Seeing no hands, I will now close the public portion, and I will go to council member comments. Is there anyone? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. During your travels, go around town, put your family in the car, enjoy all the wonderful Christmas displays around town. There's plenty to see. And have a great holiday. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Murphy?
Yes, I'd like to say, I'm old school. I'm going to say Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. But I was researching all the different ethnic groups and everything, and there was just so many in the town, and I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays. We've just completed 1 year as a council. It was a little rough. Let's just hope next year the council, administration, everybody can just work together for the people of the town. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Cahill?
No.
Oh, Mr. Merwin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I just like echo everybody and wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and let's get on to the new year.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, on this side?
Just happy holidays and safe to everyone.
Anybody else? No? Okay.
Best wishes for a joyous holiday and many blessings, everyone.
Okay. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Everyone have a great holiday season. Motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Fischetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker? Mrs. Walker? Yes. President Sohar?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.